up, Taiwan? I'm Joyce Tseng, coming to you from Taipei with the latest news. The United States says it will not participate in any counterstrikes against Iran. That's after Iran launched an unprecedented attack on Israel with 300 missiles and drones. Jaime Ocon reports.
Hundreds of drones and missiles explode in midair as they're intercepted by Israeli forces on Saturday. These are some of the images captured from Iran's first direct attack on Israeli soil in more than 45 years. The United Nations Security Council is calling for restraint and pushing for dialogue to prevent further escalation. And U.S. national security officials say they won't help Israel take any offensive actions against Iran.
Now, whether and how the Israelis will respond, that's going to be up to them. We understand that and respect that. But the president's been very clear. We don't seek a war with Iran. We're not looking for escalation here. We will continue to help Israel defend itself.
Iran and its partners inside Syria, Iraq, and Yemen attacked Israel with an estimated 120 ballistic missiles, 30 cruise missiles, and more than 170 drones. With help from the U.S. and other regional allies, Israel says it managed to intercept the overwhelming majority of these threats outside its borders, keeping casualties and damage to a minimum.
העליונות האווירית והטכנולוגית של צה"ל בשילוב קואליציה לוחמת חזקה שיחד ירתו את רובם המכריע של האיומים. ירתנו 99% מהאיומים ששוגרו לשטח מדינת ישראל. זהו הישג אסטרטגי משמעותי מאוד.
Iran says Saturday's attack was a response to a suspected Israeli strike against the Iranian embassy in Syria. Iran and Israel have been fighting what many describe as a shadow war for decades, trading missile and drone strikes. But that conflict is coming out into the open as the war in Gaza between the Iranian-backed Hamas militant group and Israel enters its 7th month. Iran says it warned countries in the region before the attack to try to minimize escalation.
ما به کاخ سفید طی پیامی بامداد امروز اعلام کردیم که عملیات ما محدود و حداقلی و با هدف دفاع مشروع و تنبیه رژیم اسرائیل صورت می‌گیرد.
Many countries closed their airspace in preparation for the attack, but the United States denies any advance notice. Now all eyes are on Israel and a possible retaliatory strike, with some fearing the conflict could escalate into nuclear war. But others say Saturday's attack was more for show.
I mean, it's a paradigm shift. What I've been saying is that, the shadow war between Israel and Iran is now out in the open. But given that, Iran did it in a very calibrated way. So it was kind of performative, but it was nevertheless a paradigm shift because it was a direct Iranian retaliation on Israel for Israeli attacks on Iranians.
Although casualties from Iran's attack were minimal, the conflict in Gaza continues to spread beyond its borders. Now the world is holding its breath as this regional conflict moves closer to a global war. Jaime Ocon and Kamashu for TaiwanPlus.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is on a 3-day state visit to China to address trade rifts and geopolitical tension. Scholz will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang while visiting several Chinese cities. China is Germany's top trading partner, but its trading practices and relationship with Russia have left Berlin trying to balance economic and security needs. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to build long-lasting ties with China. Kim made the comment in a meeting with China's National People's Congress chairman, Zhao Lejing, in Pyongyang. Zhao's visit marks the first of several expected exchanges this year to mark the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two countries. China is North Korea's most important source of economic aid and diplomatic support. According to China's state media, Zhao and Kim agreed to boost exchanges and cooperation. At least 14 people have died in a landslide triggered by heavy rain on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. Local officials in the island's mountains are carrying out rescue efforts to find missing people. The search has been hampered by damaged roads and poor weather. Floods and landslides killed at least 26 people on the Indonesian island of Sumatra last month. Officials in southern Russia are urging people to evacuate as the region grapples with the worst flood in decades. Over 120,000 people have already been forced out of their homes in Russia. Meanwhile, in neighboring Kazakhstan, over 100,000 people have been evacuated. Both countries have been battling floods from fast melting snow for at least 10 days, each declaring a state of emergency in multiple regions. The recent magnitude 7.2 earthquake in Taiwan has renewed debates over who pays for repairs to aging buildings. John Van Trieste has this report.
A hail of tiles falls from a tall building, narrowly missing a person walking by. Taiwan is full of tiled buildings, and many of their facades have been shaken loose by the recent Hualien earthquake. But tiles falling from buildings is nothing new, and people sometimes get hit. In 2015, someone in Taipei was even killed. Most buildings with tiled facades are old, and as these buildings age, reports of tiles falling are on the rise. Heavily built-up New Taipei saw 102 reports of falling tiles in 2019. By 2023, that number had risen to 313. It's possible this trend will continue. Over 700,000 buildings in the city are over 30 years old. The average cost for fixing a damaged building is over $300,000 US. And after each incident, neighborhood politicians hear the same question: who pays?
难免一定会有问题，他就会说，哎呀，那我们这个要花多少钱啊？要什么？从提出到真正施工，几乎将近了8、9年有。
It's not just splitting the bill that's a problem. All occupants of a building also have to agree to do repairs in the first place. This means many building facades end up slowly falling apart.
很多受灾的老大楼都没有管理委员会，住户仍然处于一盘散沙的状况，要采取集体行动非常的困难。
Laws might help to settle the issue, but there are not regular inspections of building facades.
同样年代的房子，不见得每一栋都会有外墙的问题，所以你硬性的去规定，你几年就要去检查，这个为什么中央没有定，就是这个原因啊。
There's talk in the legislature of creating support and incentives for repairs to building facades, and for making the government responsible for carrying repairs out. But these remain ideas for now. The earthquake and the damage it's caused are a reminder that despite years of discussion, the appetite for action is limited. Eason Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Child care workers in Taiwan have been facing a sharp uptick in formal complaints 1 year after a law was passed to protect children in preschool. The law is meant to protect children from improper punishment at the hands of caretakers. Courts can levy fines of over $18,000 US for violating the law. It comes as Taiwan's childcare industry has seen an exodus of talented workers. But childcare worker unions say low salaries and long working hours have had a bigger impact than the new law.
以前就有了啊，低薪血汗才是真正导致留不住人才，也找不到人才的原因。被裁罚一次就是幼教老师好几个月的薪水了。专业素养也可以正确的来让孩子当天的情绪啊，或者是秩序是老师可以接受的范围。
Young entrepreneurs are finding a home for their startups in the Taiwanese countryside. Our reporter Tiffany Wong heads to the south to find out how a new initiative is supporting the county's growing creative tech industry.
Fighting ghosts through augmented reality. This game, supported by the new Jiayi Culture and Technology Innovation Lab, combines Taiwanese history with the latest tech to take players to a different time and place. It's run by one of many new startups taking root in the southern county, a place that's also uniquely inspired their product.
所以在这个文化历史这么浓郁的地方哈，那我们再带入这个科技艺术进来。
Many of these new tech talents found Jiayi by chance, like Zhi Xiang-o, who's from nearby Yunlin County but studied mechanical engineering in Jiayi. He's now a product manager at a startup that uses VR and AR to provide industrial solutions. He says that in Jiayi, he feels a sense of teamwork as startups grow together.
创新基地这边有这个机会，可以跟在地的新创公司去做合作，然后去帮助新创公司来发展，那就觉得这是一个很好的机会。
Jiayi is known for its agriculture, but has recently been developing its tech industry. And local officials say their next step is to convince young innovators from the county to stay in their hometown.
我们希望未来的嘉义呢，可以是一个结合传统跟科技，让嘉义重新被更多的人看见。
And that transformation is already beginning as more people seek opportunities at the new science park under construction, and as young students get a head start on tech education. Jiayi may soon be known for much more than its agriculture, adding new, innovative, and cultural technology to its credentials, too. Andy Xue and Tiffany Wong in Jiayi County for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's National Palace Museum has brought in visual technology to give historical artifacts a modern twist. A new exhibition uses high-resolution images and 8K videos to reveal details of the artifact's textures and qualities that are not visible to the naked eye. Organizers have also added interactive elements and sounds to create an immersive experience for visitors.
松风的声音，透过这个电脑的科技，让人家去看见这个看不见的声、听不到的声音。好，那在肉形石方面呢，我们就让观众类似说拿着肉形石这样翻转啊，去看看肉形石的这个不同的层次。
A Maori basketball team is touring Taiwan. Their visit is aimed at promoting cultural and sporting connections between New Zealand and Taiwan, given that their indigenous links go back thousands of years. Louise Watt went to meet the team.
Gearing up for a basketball game, these Maori teams have travelled more than 9,000 kilometres from New Zealand to play against Taiwanese high schools. Their games are meant to forge closer ties between the two countries. And while they're here, the Maoris hope to rediscover their shared roots with Taiwan's indigenous communities.
I think we've been aware for decades that our DNA comes back to Taiwan. Even though the indigenous people are the minority here, for us it's just making the connection to our past.
The team from Rotorua City is on a 9-day tour of Taiwan. And between games, they're visiting and learning about indigenous communities firsthand. Scholars have found that the Maoris' ancestors migrated from Taiwan. Their language belongs to the same family as the island's indigenous languages, and they share hunting, face tattoo and other traditional practices with Taiwan's indigenous groups. The Maoris' trip has been organised by a Taiwanese national who used to live in New Zealand and previously ran an international school basketball competition. It's funded in cooperation with the Maori Teams Association and local governments in Taiwan. Indigenous leaders are seeing similarities between them and their guests.
"我们的歌曲、我们的舞蹈都会来自于我们自己的环境。那我想，我们对于自然的崇敬也跟毛利人一样。刚刚我们透过了我们的歌曲，还有毛利这个好朋友的这个舞蹈，我相信我们就看到了彼此身上的一些特质跟相近的地方。"
These kinds of links help to promote a Taiwanese identity that's distinct from neighbouring China, which claims sovereignty over Taiwan and threatens to take it by force. Back on the court, competition got heated. The Maoris lost to the home team in this game, but they're already planning to return and even the score. And it's that strengthened historical and emotional connection that makes this exchange a true victory for Taiwan. Patrick Chen and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Joyce Tseng. Take care and see you next time.